Hey, this is Ray with Get Real Ray, a place and space for life and business tips from this creative soul to hopefully inspire you on your journey, or at the very least, provide you with some laughs. And so let's get real. Let's get real about being a homeowner and doing your first house sit with a trusted house sitter. So this video is part of a series on how to have success as a homeowner on Trusted House Sitters. Trusted House Sitters is a site that connects homeowners, whether that be someone who's renting a home, renting an apartment, owning a home, and individuals who are looking to spend time in that space, whether it is to just make sure that the home is safe and secure while the homeowner is away, or to take care of the person's pets while the homeowner is away, or water their plants, what have you. With that being said, it's important to keep in mind that Trusted House Sitters is not an employment site. Okay, so homeowners pay a fee in order to have their home listed on Trusted House Sitters. House sitters pay a fee in order to connect with homeowners and find a potential house sit on Trusted House Sitters. People pay fees, and house sitters go through background checks. Now, hopefully you have watched my video on what homeowners could do to go ahead and increase the number of applicants they get, as well as how to prepare for a video call. These are really crucial steps in order to make sure that you set yourself up for success and get a good house sitter. Yay! A lot of times I hear, because I am a house sitter, hey, I'm new to the site. Is there anything that you need? Is there anything we can do to make it better? And I'm sure these homeowners feel weird asking this. Like, you seem nice. My pet's happy. Was everything okay? It could be a bit nerve-wracking for these homeowners. I get it. I wanted to share with you a few things that have really left an impression on me, and ways that you can make sure that you get 5-star reviews from house sitters. Okay, so tip number 1, make sure your place is clean. I recently put together my own list of questions and non-negotiables. This helps me make sure that I'm picking a house sit that's gonna be comfortable and align with my needs. I am well past the days where I just need a sit so I can get started on this journey. Please like me. That's long gone for me. And now I'm able to be a bit selective, which is pretty cool. But with that being said, I do not want to spend 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, any period of time in a house that is dirty. And I do hate giving less than 5 stars. If I have to give less than 5 stars, then I'm going to specify why that was, because there's a different home for every different kind of sitter, right? Now, I did a house sit where the homeowner said, I cleaned. It might not look like it, but I cleaned. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. And, I know that feeling where you're like, okay, I know my stuff is a little run down, but it's definitely clean. Now, maybe she is used to it, or maybe it was a vision thing, right? Sometimes when you're in your home, you don't always see and notice things. But when I stepped into a shower, at first I thought it was oh, her shower's got this interesting marble swirl. And then I realized, no, those are just big old splotches of shampoo, because often when you are using a blonde hair dye, or even if your hair is silver, you will use a purple shampoo in order to balance the tone. And so that wasn't a marble, interesting marble print on the walls of the shower. That was shampoo. So yes, if you cleaned your home, you may not have thought to clean your shower, or at least the walls of the shower. But as someone who is new to your home, I noticed it. And I thought, did you clean? did you clean this? Right? Also, there was a bit of an odor in the home, and I didn't notice it the first night because I was exhausted. But the next night, I noticed it, and I remember looking at this dog. The dog was so stupid cute, but the dog wanted to sleep in the bed with me. It was like, oh, you're so sweet, yay. The first night, it didn't sleep with me. The second night, it wanted to sleep with me. It was like, hi, I like you. And it sat on the pillow right next to my head. So there was 2 pillows. Dog had a pillow, I had a pillow, and we were looking at each other. I gave a little sniff. I looked at the dog and I said, either you smell or this room smells, but something is not right. And I remember when I had arrived, the window was open to the room, you know, fresh air. Fresh air is always a good thing for a home. But was the window open because the dog had recently peed in that room? And so the homeowner was trying to get out the pee smell? Or was the window really open for fresh air and the dog was the one smelling? I'm still not 100% sure to this day, but after that night, I did go to the store. I got some lavender laundry sheets to redo the linens with. I sprinkled baking soda on the carpet and vacuumed the carpet to get any odors out of the carpet. I use like an all-natural air freshener and then open the windows to further air out the room, because remember, the window had been open before, but the next day when I closed the window, there was a smell. And I gave the dog a bath. That's a lot. So clean your home and clean your pets. Clean your pets. I did notice that dog had either mud or poo stuck in its fur. And so that could also have been contributing to smell. And the dog was so happy once it had been bathed. Everyone has their, you know, I'm not even like really mad at the homeowner, because you're used to seeing, especially if you work full time, you only see your pet for a few hours and you're busy. It's easy to miss these things, but by golly, just think, are you giving your pet flea medication? And if not, do they get some sort of bath or bathing so that they're not uncomfortable with fleas, not fees, fleas. So you want to make sure that before the house sitter arrives, your home is clean and your pet is clean. Yeah. I remember going out to dinner with a couple. They were homeowners, and they said, the wife said, I spent so much time cleaning the house that I'm refusing to cook tonight. So we thought it'd be nice to take you out to dinner because I don't want to dirty the house. And I thought that is so sweet. And it really was. We had a lovely time at dinner. I truly appreciate they did not have to do that at all, but it was really nice. So this was someone who was also very mindful. Like, if I cook, I'm going to have to do the dishes or put them through the dishwasher, and then am I gonna have time to put away the dishes before I go to bed? I have a really early flight, right? So she was like, no, I'm not about that life. Let's just make this easy. I went to another house sit where they were really kind enough to cook dinner for me, and we had a lovely conversation. And then after dinner, they did all the dishes and put away all the dishes before they left early for their flight. Okay, so not only would we say clean home and clean pet, but also set yourself up for where you're comfortable. Cooking dinner for a house sitter is truly touching. Now, a lot of times you're not going to be in a situation where you need the house sitter to come the night before. And so you're like, oh, I'm not cooking you dinner, or I just don't cook. Totally fine. Let us know if there's anything on site that we are allowed to consume. Now, a lot of times I will have people say, oh, feel free to, the bar is there and the pantry's there, help yourself. And this is really sweet. I do put in my profile that I got lots of food allergies and I don't drink alcohol. So I think these people know, like, we will return home and there will still be things here. There's just one of her and she looks tiny. However, especially if you're dealing with a younger sitter, right? A younger house sitter, you want to be mindful of saying things like, help yourself. I went onto one forum where a homeowner was complaining that he had a couple stay in their home for a couple of weeks. I think it was like a long sit, maybe like almost 2 months or something like that. And though they had said help yourself, or I think they said something like, oh, help yourself to the muffins my wife made that are in the freezer, and I don't know, maybe something else. The guy was mad because he came home and found that over $300 worth of groceries had been eaten. They'd eaten all of my steaks and chicken and pork chops, and I just don't understand how anyone could do that. Should I put this in the review? And part of me was just like, did you bring it up with the house sitters? Before you just like slap and review, they ate all my food. Did you reach out to the house sitters and say, hey, thank you so much for leading a clean home? I did notice that quite a bit of food was eaten. I remember we said XYZ, maybe you misheard me, right? And I mean, honestly, I would probably just kind of leave it at that. Like we said, maybe you misheard. I just wanted to reach out about this because it's something you might want to be mindful of for future sits. And that house sitter might be like, oh my gosh, I totally misheard you. Wasn't even thinking, can I Venmo you some money or half the money for this misunderstanding? That's like an ideal situation, right? Of course, someone who is going to bother to eat all your food, like $300 worth of food, may not be mindful enough to offer to send money, okay? Let's be honest. And so you as the homeowner need to be proactive. And before you just say, oh, help yourself, be clear and specific. I have had homeowners say, please help yourself to any of the perishables in the pantry. Or please help yourself to any of the spices and oils, right? Okay, so now I know I can go to town on your spice rack, or I can use your oil. I don't have to go buy my own oil. Oh gosh, I could use some flour. I know I can use your flour, right? You know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's like beans and rice and pasta. People will put this stuff in the welcome guide also. My general rule is if it's in the freezer, I should not touch it because that is something that's not going to expire. It's in the freezer for a reason, to preserve it. So leave it alone. Sometimes, you know, fresh fruit, milk, things of that nature, homeowners will say, oh, you know, there's some milk in there and some fruit. Might as well help yourself because otherwise it's going to go bad. Yeah, great, fine, thank you, no problem. Now, I don't eat dairy or of any kind, so I'm just going to dump their milk out. But I do also let homeowners know beforehand that in an ideal world, they will not buy a lot of groceries before I arrive. There'll be at least an empty shelf for me to put my stuff in the fridge and some empty space in the freezer. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to be on a house sit for an extended period of time and to feel like you have to fight to get your food in the freezer. So there is that. Another thing that you can do to set things up for that house sitter, aside from clearing a shelf in the fridge and clearing a shelf in the freezer, I've seen homeowners clear some space in whatever room the house sitter will stay in. So, oh, we left you some space in the closet. We left you some space in the drawers. This is just a nice way, especially for a long house sit. It's a nice way to say, we want you to feel at home. We want you to feel comfortable, like you can stay. You don't have to feel like you are a guest. Welcome home. This is really, really nice. Okay, I want to look up, another really lovely thing that I have had homeowners do, which makes my stay way more enjoyable, is to list where things are. So local grocery store, you know, sometimes people list nearby parks for me because they know I like to take walks in nature. If you know there's something really cool that's in your town, like, oh, this town is really well known for its wine vineyards or really known more for XYZ, which is just a 10-minute drive away. I think it's really sweet to have that in the welcome guide or on some kind of printout and let us as sitters know, because then it makes us really more curious to explore and experience whatever it is that you recommended. Now, I did do a house sit where a homeowner said, help yourself to anything in the pantry. And he put it in writing too. And he specified in like big caps, seriously, do not hesitate. Don't be shy. I have far more than I can eat in this lifetime and than I need. And knowing the type of work he was in, it was very clear that a lot of items he had in his home were probably gifts from others, like edible gifts from friends or companies. And because there was things like multiples of the same item, all with like little expiration dates. And so I felt very comfortable taking him on his word that I could help myself to these items. And I made sure to kind of stick to things that I knew that were multiples, because then it's like, okay, so instead of having 6 kinds of jarred tomatoes, I now have 4 because Ray ate 2 or something, right? Like it's fine. It's fine. But just don't be mad if you say help yourself to anything and they literally help them. The sitter like literally helps themselves to anything and everything. Most good sitters will not do that. But remember, you're new to finding a trusted house sitter, and you might be working with a sitter who is really good at watching that pet, watching that house, but kind of takes it a little too literally when you say, you know, feel free to try everything. I have loved it when homeowners leave me little welcome packages. I've had people leave like special soaps because I, you know, say, oh, I have all these allergies. And so they leave like little organic, all natural soaps. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet. Vegan chocolate bars. I'm vegan. So waking up to find a little basket on the table where there's like vegan chocolate bars and a variety of trail mixes. Like, oh my gosh, this person paid attention when I spoke to them. What magical universe are they from? How do they get these little snacks? Just wow. Really, really top notch. And if you think about it, that's the kind of service you would expect if you were going to stay at a hotel and you told them when you made your reservation, yeah, it's our anniversary. And then all of a sudden you show up in your hotel room and there's maybe like a bottle of bubbly and some roses or something. And you're like, wow, they paid attention. And it's just really nice as a sitter to feel like that homeowner paid attention. It's just really, really, really nice. Sometimes the treats are even more appreciated than the cash. Now, I have a friend who's a homeowner on Trusted House Sitter, and she's always like, are you getting tipped? Are you getting money? And I'm like, most people actually don't give money. It's just a fact, okay? I know that YouTube would have you think that all of these house sitters are making money, traveling and living for free, blah, 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 blah. Most homeowners don't give money. But remember, Trusted House Sitters is a site where it's supposed to be mutual exchange of services, and we're not supposed to really be doing any money exchange. But some homeowners will leave some money as a way to say thank you. One of my favorites was when I literally had, I think it was 4 days in Connecticut. And the homeowner has a pit bull. And so that's already, she already knows not a lot of people are going to be willing to watch a pit bull because they have bad reputations. Her pit bull was a sweetie, would watch that dog again any day of the week. The location was a little hard to get to, but her dog was amazing, okay? With that being said, she loved me. $100 in an envelope with a little note that says, I hope you get an opportunity to treat yourself to dinner at one of our amazing restaurants in the neighborhood. And I remember she had told me about, oh, there's all these good restaurants in the neighborhood. And so for her to extend the conversation by leaving me some money to be like, no, you need to go do this, I thought that was really, really touching and really mindful, right? Because it's one thing for people to leave us a list that say, oh, there's all these cool restaurants in the neighborhood, and you're sitting there as a house sitter going, well, I can't really afford this neighborhood. Would love to, but I don't have the cash. So to take that step to say, not only do I think you should try it, I would like to make it possible for you to try it. That was really, really touching. Now, obviously, if you are going away and this is your first time with the sitter or just your first time with a sitter, you might be concerned about leaving cash for someone only to come home and find out that it wasn't a 5-star sit. For some reason, something went wrong. Maybe the sitter broke something by mistake, right? They broke something, but it's like, okay, well, like one homeowner's like, oh yeah, the last sitter broke my blinds, so I'm having them replaced. And I thought, oh, that's a little scary and sad and frustrating. What are these blinds like? How fancy are they? However, that's an expense. And since the homeowner said she was having them fixed, I'm assuming that the homeowner was paying for that to be fixed. Now, to be fair, the sitter may have said, oh my gosh, I broke your blinds. I'm so sorry. Here's the money for that. The homeowner may have also said, oh, you broke the blinds, but don't worry about it. Things happen. Keep your money, please. You still did me a favor by watching my 4 pets. Did she have 4? She had 4 pets. 3 of them were cats, so it was pretty easy sit. But anyway, anything could have been worked out. I have no clue who was paying for what. However, assuming that the homeowner is paying for that broken item, you may not be comfortable leaving money as a thank you gift before that sit is finished. And that's okay too. One homeowner said to me as I was departing, hey, do you take Venmo or Zelle? I was like, yes, I do. Now you might be like, why did you say this as you were departing? Well, I had suitcases in my hand. I was going to my car, and I actually hadn't even expected to run into her. I thought she was coming back a little bit later, but she got back a little earlier. She was like, oh my gosh, you're here. And I'm like, yeah, I'm on my way out with the bag. And she was like, oh my gosh, your hands are full. Thank you so much. And I said, yeah, no problem. And so later on, she sent me a message like, you did such a great job, and I want to send you a little thank you. Do you take Venmo or so? I'm like, yes, I do. Thank you so much. And she left me a very generous thank you monetary gift. Woohoo! Okay. So with that being said, aside from sending us little gifts of appreciation, whether it is food or money or a little note, we love all these things. What's even more important, or just as important, I should say, is having the welcome guide filled out. Now, you don't have to use the Trusted House Sitters guide. Like, for some people, it's kind of a pain. I have been to house sits where the homeowner will have a printed guide as well as the digital guide. So the digital guide I can look over before I arrive, and then the printed guide, as they, find more things about their neighborhood, they just found it easier to just put it in the printed guide. I've also been in situations where the power went out in the house, which meant not only did I not have any electricity, but the location of that home, I didn't have cell service. It was not happening. So I had to drive 20 minutes to get into downtown to try to get, some kind of electricity. And it turns out the power was out in town, but at least I was able to get cell service. And once I had cell service, I was able to find, I think there was like some kind of Starbucks or something that had a backup generator, or maybe they were just on the side of the street where there was still a little bit of power. But I had cell service to call the homeowner and to leave a message. And then I was able to get some little 5G happening with my phone to open up the digital welcome guide on Trusted House Sitters and to look at their instructions about where the electric panel was, because I was concerned, well, maybe it was just out in the house. So I wanted to know where that electric panel was. And of course, then I realized, no, it's power's out with the street lamps as well. I don't know why that Starbucks had power. I mean, Starbucks with a backup generator? I don't know. Anyway, I have to say that that was a situation where I was like, man, I wish they had a printed version of the guide, because it would have saved me having to drive into town just to figure out where this panel was. And also, when you are in an emergency situation, sometimes for a sitter, it can be a lot quicker to grab that notebook or that piece of paper and turn to the page to get the information we need, as opposed to go to the app and then swipe to the correct section and open up the section and then go to the to find the information we need. So, and then some people are just not tech savvy, or they don't love the online welcome guide. They don't really bother to fill it out. And they're like, hey, there'll be a guide for you when you get here. I actually had one homeowner who was like, we have a spare cell phone with all the information that you need on the phone, and you can use that phone to call us, because we're going to be out of the country, but that phone has international minutes, so you can call us on that phone too, anything you need. And I thought, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Now, sitters do like to look at some information before they arrive, but hopefully your sitter is proactive and asking you questions at least a week before the sit if they haven't received any kind of welcome guide, like just to find out, like, hey, will I be receiving the guide on site, or will you be filling out the Trusted House Sitters guide? What is your system, right? Some people are just like, hey, I didn't have time to fill out that guide. Can I just send you a bunch of like text messages with the info? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. As long as I've got like the vet number and contact information for someone in case there's some sort of emergency and I can't reach you, then anything else you can kind of send me later. But those like kind of two things, as well as the address. I did take one set where she thought I had access to the guide. I did not have access to the guide, and I did not have an address. So I literally like sat in a grocery store parking lot and left her tons of voicemails. Hi, text messages. Hello, I know you don't have much cell service where you're at, but when you get this, can you tell me where the address is so I can go feed your dogs? Because they're probably starving by now. Thankfully, it only took like an hour or so for her to get back to me. But, you know, mistakes happen. Mistakes happen. And as a seasoned sitter, I should have been more careful looking at the information I had access to. And like, she just didn't realize. She's like, oh, I thought I did it. I was like, no. And when people are busy and packing, when you are busy and packing, then it's easy to forget that you have to do an extra step or what have you. And sometimes people just don't know. Okay, so with that being said, make sure we've got a welcome guide. That is super, super crucial in terms of we got to know information. And my last little tip for you, my friends, is setting things up for success before the house sitter arrives. I guess this is kind of two. So one, make sure you tell the sitter if there's a gardener, house sitter, family member that may come by or is expected to come by. The sitter should know this information. No one should just be randomly walking in your home. They have a key and they walk in. You know, the sitter could be online working. If they told you they work from home, they could be sitting on the couch picking their nose while watching your Netflix. Okay? And just to have somebody walk into the house because they have a key and they are able to come and go as they please is something the sitter should know. It's actually really, I'm gonna say it's rude to not let the sitter know that someone may enter your home during their stay. I always ask on those phone conversations that I have with homeowners, are you expecting for any house cleaners, gardeners, or neighbors, family members, or anyone to be stopping by? Now, I will say, if you have any kind of construction plan, wait until you get back to town to handle that yourself. It is a lot to ask a sitter to coordinate with construction people. I made the mistake of agreeing to do that once while someone was on vacation. It really damaged my relationship with that person. I was not happy getting phone calls and text messages from the homeowner saying, hey, where are you at? The construction worker said that he's at the door and no one answered, so he left. And I'm like, well, the construction worker has my number, didn't tell me he was coming by, and I do have a job. I had to go to the post office to mail something for work. My job is not staying at the home waiting for this construction worker who was supposed to actually come by 2 days before and never came by, right? So just save the drama for someone else's mama and set those kind of major appointments for when you're in town and you can deal with them yourself. Because remember, that sitter isn't being paid to take care of your home like a property manager. They're not. They're not your property manager. They're not your house cleaner. They're not your gardener. They're not. They're just someone, just like a friend who's agreeing to, hey, I'll watch your cat for you. I'll water your plants for you. And, oh, cool. I get to like eat a bag of chips, or, hey, thanks. I get to like use your Netflix account. Cool. Thanks. Right? Mutual exchange. Okay. So with that being said, this one I actually learned from reading about, I read a review on the site, and I was looking at a house that I was thinking about. I'm like, oh, I know this neighborhood. Maybe I should apply to this. And I just took a quick peek at the reviews. I don't always do it, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, let me just check out this homeowner's reviews. So I looked at the reviews, and there was a recent sitter who stated that the pet was great, the location was great. Their one issue was that the homeowner did not have arrangements for a spare key, and the sitter got locked out and was not thrilled that they had to pay for 50% of the locksmith fee, to which the homeowner posted a reply on Trusted House Sitters. Homeowners are able to do this. You're able to post a reply stating that they felt the sitter should pay 50% because it was the sitter's fault for getting locked out, and it was something that could have easily been avoided. I feel like they both have a point, but honestly, things happen. Now, the major city that person lived in, it is not uncommon for someone to not know their neighbors, not really know anybody in their building, and to just kind of live a kind of isolated life. I totally get it. And I used to live in that city, and I know what it's like to just be like, man, if I lose my key, I'm going to have to rely on my spouse or roommate or somebody to let me in, because you don't have connections with the other people in the building. That's just kind of a normal thing. However, given that the things happen, like keys get lost, it's not abnormal, it's not unnatural. The sitter didn't do it on purpose. The homeowner really should have had some sort of backup system in place, could have had a backup system in place, and that also could have avoided this fee. So for the homeowner to say, well, it was all avoidable, well, yeah, you could have had a backup key. So with that being said, make it easy on your sitter, make it easier on yourself, and have a backup system in place. I actually locked myself purposefully out of a sit because I had the departure dates confused. We had one thing on Trusted House Sitter. I put it in my calendar. They messaged me saying they wanted to extend the day. I said, great, no problem. I didn't ask them to change it on Trusted House Sitters because I wanted to be able to book something else for that day after I left their property. And I did what I always do, which was secure the property, lock it up, head out. I drove like 3 or 4 hours away, And I had sent them a message like, hope your flight landed okay, and I really hadn't heard back. So I sent another message like, hey, haven't heard from you guys. Is everything okay with your flight? And then I found in my inbox, my Trusted House Sitters inbox, this reminder of they're not coming back until the next day. Like they had asked to change it. I thought, oh my God. So I left them a voicemail. Hey, I am so sorry. Please disregard all my previous messages. I am still going to be at the property. I will make sure that your pet is fed and okay. I went back to the property. So I drove back the 4 hours. It was now dark and I no longer had a key, right? I no longer had a key because I locked the key in the property like I was told to do. Good me. I have learned my lesson from that, which is to make sure that I set things up so that way I get that confirmation from the homeowner that their flight has landed or there's a spare key somewhere. Right? I really do need that confirmation your flight has landed. That is just me. All the same, what I wound up doing is I made it back to the property and I thought, okay, I'm going to be able to get in this way or get in that way. I could not get in. I couldn't get in. And so I had to call the homeowner and I said, I'm so sorry. I realize it is a little late, but I'm locked out of your property. Would you be comfortable giving me the code to the front door so that I can get in and feed your cat? I made a serious error in my calendar and I left early, and they were like, oh, no problem. And I was so grateful that they were actually just having a late dinner because it was like 10 o'clock at night when I called these people. But they had arrived back into town on that day. They had just decided, we're going to be back. We're going to be at the, get our stuff out of the airport. It's going to be late. We won't feel like driving back. So we're just going to stay at a hotel near the airport. And then we'll be nice, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and return home the next morning. Great. They're so smart. And I was so grateful that there was a code that I could just easily enter. Boop, boop, boop. And I opened the door. The cat was looking at me like, where have you been? I missed you because you have my food. And so, yeah, I fed the cat and all that stuff. So anyway, have a spare key or have some kind of backup system. A lot of homeowners will use like the last 4 digits of the house sitter's phone number as a code on the door. So this way, the sitter can go in and out using this code. The homeowner can delete access for that code after the sitter has arrived. And it's just a really great security measure for everybody. You don't have to worry so much about that sitter getting locked out. But if they do get locked out, some homeowners will even have like a master lock box on the property somewhere, kind of discreetly hidden with a key inside. And so they'll give the code to the lockbox to the sitter, or they'll say, hey, you can text so-and-so if you have an emergency, and then they will give you the code to the lockbox. But these lockboxes, you can change the code and stuff like that. So anyway, there are lots of ways in which homeowners are able to protect their property and make sure that the sitter has a little backup plan in case they get locked out, which is super helpful. Okay, so I hope you take to heart these tips to set yourself up for success with your sitter arriving soon. I hope you got amazing applications, had a great video FaceTime interview, picked an amazing sitter, and now you are well on your way to organizing everything so when that sitter arrives, they feel prepared to take a wonderful care of your home, your pets, your plants, and you can just go and enjoy your vacation or time with family or whatever it is that you're doing, your business event, without worrying about how things are going at home. Okay, so if you want more fun tips for homeowners and how to truly be a rock star on Trusted House Sitters, then go ahead and check out this next video.